No cross, no crown. That's what the gentleman told me this morning at the pool when I went for a swim. And it got me to thinking about all the situations where we are judged by society or by our peers or by some group of people with authority, and we place some credence in that opinion. Recently, as you may have heard, I have been found liable to pay $22,500 to the Law Society of British Columbia for having issued 3 subpoenas prepared by a client's husband and signed by me without too much thought, not thinking properly at the time due to my wife's illness. She was suffering cancer, taking chemotherapy at the time. I had whooping cough. I was recovering from the long Seifert trial that was going on at the time, and with that I had no secretary because Kelty, my wife, had always worked for me as a secretary in those periods when I didn't have someone. My other secretary had retired after 25 years. So in a period of great stress, I signed 3 documents without looking at them with enough care, and they were actually not complying with the rules as to what subpoenas have to be. They did not require the individual to bring the documents. They asked the documents to be produced to me, which was an incorrect way to put the subpoena, which was signed. No documents were produced except by voluntary compliance by a California MasterCard agent, which had to demonstrate that the traveler's checks signed by a deceased person were endorsed by the executor of his estate, who benefited from that estate and with whom he was when he died in the sea in Costa Rica. Anyway, that's a long story, but the bottom line is, you may know that the Law Society found me liable for misconduct, and that they fined me $2,500, made me pay $20,000 in costs. Had I known that the fine was $2,500 and I had to go through 3 years of inquiry about it, I would have probably paid the fine, but now I owe them $22,500. And the publicity, which has been very bad, has been such as to heat my enemies and cool my friends, as Shakespeare said. But I've come to realize, as the man told me this morning, you know, you've been bashed a lot, he said, and no cross, no crown. That's the truth. And when we look at the internet, we know that a lot of it is inaccurate. You know, people look at it all the time, but we think that the authorities are always right, or at least there's a general perception that that is so. The hardest part of this whole experience has been realizing that if you tell the truth, they may not believe you nevertheless. And the worst of the injustice is to know that you're innocent and be convicted anyhow. That is the hardest thing to take. But I've come to realize, with that kind of long view of history, that the ultimate judgment is not between man and man, but between God and man, and I'm prepared for that. I know that my intentions were to do the right thing, and that in the long run, the truth will be revealed to the very important person who counts. And I'm hopeful that you will take a look at this and also consider in your own life, as I have, that the opinions of others, whether they be an authority or not, are not the most important things. The most important thing is to know, love, and serve the truth, and to be prepared to speak it, even though it may be unpopular, even though it may get you into trouble with those in power. And I've been a rebel for a long time, and the establishment doesn't like me, and I don't like them very much either, because I've seen too much about what they do. And I'm not impressed, and I think it's totally unjust. And justice has been the passion of my life. It always will be. And so I guess that's one of the reasons why I came to realize, no matter how much it costs politically to me, I'll always believe that it's our duty to free the West.